Kevin, my friend, it's so fun to see you because you are someone that has become more over the years. Each and every time I see you, you're adding something, doing something more, or helping one more person succeed at a high level. So thank you for being with us today.
I'm excited to be with you as well, and I'm just so thankful that I got to meet you. I remember that day. We were at the John Maxwell event, and me and Gabriel were there, and little did we know that you would be sitting at our table, and the connection we would have after that has just been fantastic. So I'm super grateful for the Maxwell event to be able to meet you, and that's where all the power comes from is the networking and
You
being a
know,
part of
that
your
is
mastermind
true.
group.
You're networking and you're very good at that. And of course, Gabriel, being a great golfer, gave us something to really talk about, right? Because we both love kids and he's your son. I mean, of course, you love him a lot. And he was
Yeah.
just getting ready to go off to college.
Right. Yeah. No. And so, yeah, right after that, we were actually on our way. We were on our way down to college, went to that, and then dropped him off. So that
So, what
worked out really
advice
well.
do you have for people that have kids in college or that are thinking about a college right now? Do you have any words of wisdom for us?
With I let Gabe choose. I mean, it was his choice. He knew where he wanted to go. It's the only place that he put an application in. He was real specific about it, and he accomplished his goal. And I think that's a better approach rather than pushing somebody in any direction just because I went to one college. I want him to follow his heart. I think it's good to provide guidance and the guardrails and make sure that it aligns with everything that your values and your kids' values are. But, as you know, we just got back from High Point University. That is an over the top experience. And I've never witnessed a college like that one before, that's for sure.
Well, and that was fun. One of the things that both of us were learning junkies is what I call it, yet
Yeah.
we love to learn. And that layered learning just helps over and over again. You learn this, then this, then this, and it just keeps going. That's kind of how you started your career, though. You started out in insurance, and of course, they have your bio, yet you sold that insurance company to the people that helped you build it. That's very unusual. What
Yeah.
caused you to do that?
Well, I just I've always felt led to help those that have helped me, and just realizing that nothing could have been accomplished without the people and the team. They were the ones who won the awards. I was the lucky one that was able to receive it on their behalf, but there's no way that I could have myself become the number one agency in the country for Allstate or in the Allstate Hall of Fame. It's a team. There's no I in team, and they're the ones that did the work. And so along the way, it feels great to be able to give back and help those that have helped me become where I am today. And I didn't even look at any outside buyers. Like, my plans for all 5 of my agencies were to sell to staff because it just made sense. They're the ones that groomed it. They're the ones that built it. They're the ones that deserve it. And it worked out fantastic.
And so then you went on to say, hey, this is what helped me successful. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a company that will help other insurance agencies be successful. And you've gone beyond insurance. So Ideal Traits is the name of your company. And I want to know, how tough was it starting that? Because you're an entrepreneur. Was it like rolling the hill uphill, a rock uphill?
Yeah, it was a little bit of both. And the reason I say that is we had so much passion behind it. So it was me and my brother and our friend Todd, who, kind of funny, like a good story, he just wouldn't go away. So he's always been a lifelong friend, met him at Children's Church. And, we said, all right, well, we're going to go work on this. And we're like, there he is again. And he just kept showing up, kept showing up, and kept showing up. And we go to the first show, and I'm fast forwarding a little bit. And he's like, well, I want to go. And we're like, well, we can't pay you. Like, all we're doing is paying money to have this program developed. And he said, well, it doesn't matter. Like, it just kept showing up. So then, of course, as the story goes, now he's partner in it. And so it shows that by just giving and doing the right thing, that ultimately it's worth it. It's not always like, I'm going to do something and have my hand out for it. But
It's interesting because showing up, I mean, what you're reminding me of is Think and Grow Rich, when the guy wanted to work for Thomas Edison, right? And he
yeah,
just kept showing up. I'm going to
right.
work for you. I'm going to work for you. I'm going to work for you.
Yeah.
And even with John Maxwell, telling John over and over again, I'm going to become your friend. I know you're my friend. I'm going to become your friend.
Right.
And we're great friends.
Yeah.
So, one, I want the people to hear that persistence in showing up. And sometimes when you're not getting paid, because you weren't paying this gentleman, right?
No, zero. We didn't
Yet
pay him
he,
for probably 18 months. I mean, maybe longer. And it just shows his passion and just, he just wanted to be helpful. He wanted to, see it through. He believed in the vision. And we just said, we just don't have any money. Like, we literally don't. It was just, we started out with, it was a blank piece of paper. And we just started sketching it out of how we could help people. So you kind of like back to your question was it hard or, it was hard in a sense that we had no guidelines. We literally start with blank sheet of paper in comparison to like AllState, right? So they give you the framework, they give you the signs and the colors and the ideas and how to set things up. And this was just, you have to figure everything out on your own. So that made it harder, but the passion behind it, knowing about how many people that we could serve and we could help, because I witnessed it. And so has my brother, and everybody witnesses and they know how powerful it is when you hire one more person that's a top performer. I mean, top performers can sometimes do 3 or 4 times the amount of other people, or the amount of 3 people just in one. And it has such a profound impact on the business and how much that they can serve and benefit the business. And usually, this is the tricky one that some business owners don't get, is that they're your least expensive employees, the least expensive. So if you take your top salesperson and you say, how much money did they generate me? And then how much did I pay them? And then take that percentage. And then you take your middle of the road or a lower performer and say, they performed, they generated this much, and they cost this much. And by percentage, they're way more expensive. Now you could have paid your top person 3 to 4 times the amount of a lower performer, and yet still the margins are just better with the top performer. So having that foundation, just knowing that if we did that for other businesses, the impact, and it goes way deeper than just the business owner, because it goes to the family who were less, privileged maybe at the moment. Now they got a better job to work with this company. And so now they can help their family better. And then it helps their manager and their manager's manager and the owner of the company. And it's just a win, 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 win. And it's that deep rather than just we help people hire. Like that's the way I look at it.
well, it's this ripple effect that you've had going over and over again, and I love that. And it's kind of like Dan Sullivan said, it's the who, not the how, right? And you help people find the who. The other thing you reminded me of, though, is like if I have a son or daughter and they come to work for you, I kind of expect you to help them become all they can be. I mean, after all, their life is going to be affected by you. So what are you going to do to help develop them? Are you going to put them in the right spot? And what you help people do, because you start out with an assessment that says, here's what you're really great at, and this is what you're going to enjoy. And maybe they're auditioning or interviewing for a job that really doesn't fit them, yet they need a job.
Yeah.
So they're going for it. And the employer hires them because they got all this spunk, they got the passion, and yet they're in the wrong position, and that spunk and passion goes away very quickly. So tell us a little bit about why should we do personality traits and have those assessments done?
Yeah, I mean, great question. I can think back to when my cousin was applying, one of my best friends growing up, and he had his master's degree and he wanted to come aboard our company because he saw great things were happening. And yet at that moment, I said, you're going to have to take the assessment. And this turns the hiring process into logical rather than emotion. Emotions say, this is my cousin. He's been one of my best friends, and I want him to come work with me. And that sounds all great and fun. But in business, as we know, we can't make those types of emotional decisions. At the same time, this is when Matt Saint, who applied for the position at my agency, it just happened to be at the same time. So Matt Saint applies. And of course, he applies on Ideal Traits and he takes the assessment and it comes back aces. And it's like, and then my cousins came back and it said, this would not be good for a sales position. Like he just wouldn't enjoy it. So long story short, Matt Saint was flipping burgers, not just figuratively speaking at McDonald's, like he was literally on the grill at
Flipping burgers.
McDonald's in Lake Orion, our hometown, where my agency was. He was literally at McDonald's, and I have pictures to prove it. So I ended up hiring Matt Saint at 19 years old. His only prior job was a plumber's apprentice, and he never had any college background degree at all. And long story short, he's the one that ends up purchasing my last 3 agencies. 4 kids, wife, wife worked in the agency, new home and 2 cars, and, the rest is history.
Well, I've used the Ideal Traits. I love it. In fact, the assistant that I have hired, the executive assistant, you helped me find. And I loved that assessment, the resume. I mean, I get everything done for me, so I get more time. Yet that assessment really does help to say, yeah, they'd be a good fit. And I think we owe that to people to make certain it's a good fit because it harms both of us, right? What is the cost? I know you've done a lot of research. What's the cost of hiring a bad employee or an employee that doesn't like what they do?
Yeah, actually CareerBuilder came up with a study and said it's between $25,000 and $50,000 if you hire the wrong employee. Because you really have to think about all of the hard costs and maybe even the soft costs of it. So you've got the advertising, and then you've got the hours that you spend that you're interviewing people and you're reviewing resumes, and then you pay them for 90 days, right? And let's just say they last 90 and you say, no, time to, cut bait. You paid them their salary and you paid them the taxes on that. Then they also may have, if they're the wrong person, wrong position, then they may have spoiled other employees in there, and you might have had other casualties that come along with it. Conservatively would be $20,000 and up to, it could be 100 on collateral damage. You never really know.
And if you keep them longer than 90 days, they could actually do more damage than that. If they lose you one of your top clients, who knows how much they could cost you, right? So I really enjoyed the assessment. The other part, though, that I thought was fabulous was the video, where you get to make up the questions, the people answer the video, you get to watch it, you can see their body language, you can hear their voice, you can hear the inflections, you know how they're going to treat people based on the way they speak. There's so many wonderful things, and you get to do it on your time frame. You don't have to do it from 9 to 5. Like on Saturday, I was sitting there watching videos. How much fun was that? I was able to go, yes, I like that one. Okay, I'll set up an appointment. No, yes, whatever.
Yeah.
And you helped me all the way through it. How many people have you helped hire?
The total, I don't know, but I know we've helped about 20,000 businesses. So I don't know how many they have hired overall, but I'm sure it's a pretty large number. I'm sure that it exceeds 100,000 employees, easy. So it's great to be a small piece of that, just knowing that we can help so many. You hit on something that we really focus on at Ideal Traits, and it's created, like removing the irritants, as we just learned about, right? And just making it simple. So with our software, we gave us a rigorous test when we updated our UI to say 2 clicks and you can get to anything you need to do. 2 clicks and you can see the personality profile. 2 clicks and you can text the candidate. 2 clicks and you can review their resume. And so everything from wherever you are is just 2 clicks away from it. And then, of course, the automation piece, as this continues to grow, we have AI in it, and that can be a loosely term, but we have a full-time AI person that helps us. And, a great example of that would be is it can write job ads, but it also can read resumes, know the position they're applying for, and then create awesome questions for an interview. So that's been a whole lot of fun.
I think the big thing is you taking the time away from the people because of all you do. And I can testify to the 2 clicks. I don't like cumbersome things. Simplicity, easy, fast, efficient. That's the way I would describe this. Now, let's get down, though, into the nitty-gritty of business, because you have a great culture.
Yeah.
Every single person on your team I have spoken with, well, they just exude a caring spirit.
Yeah.
And that's not something that you just teach. It's something that you hire already. So we know that Ideal Traits works. Yet culture, that's a different thing. It's not what we talk about, it's what we tolerate, right? What did you do to build a great culture?
Well, I think, us as leaders have to be the first one, and we want to model what we believe that it should be like. And we spend a lot of time on Zoom. So our company right now, since COVID, is 100% remote. So we might have a couple people that will go into the office, and we've got, about 40 employees. But every single day, especially as a salesperson, there's a sales meeting every day, every single day, Monday through Friday, without a doubt, 100%. And we're role playing too. So we do the sales meeting, and then we have a meeting with all of the staff Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And we do fun stuff. Like on Mondays, we spin the wheel, and there's a bunch of different meeting ideas. And then somebody will be in charge of doing that meeting on Friday. And so it creates a culture of a learning culture, and we learn about each other. Some of the meetings are literally just, it'll state some facts and say, who is this person? And we play Kahoot. I would say twice a month we'll play Kahoot. And it has nothing to do with even hiring. So it's nice to lighten it up. Other things that we do is we just scheduled a cruise for every one of our employees. We're taking them on a cruise in November, the 1st of November, and we're going to the Bahamas and flying out of Fort Lauderdale. We're flying the whole team in. They're spending the night in a hotel, going on a 4-day cruise, and bring them back. Last year we did Cedar Point. We flew them all in there. Sometimes we bring them to the office. It's on the lake, and we do lake activities. We understand that in today's world, it's much more than just how much can you give me, build into the business, that they create relationship. There are literally best friends in our company, different employees that match up, and they go see each other cross country. They become best friends. No, really. And so that's something that I am just super proud of. And that's not just me. So I'm not taking all the credit. I mean, Todd, who I referred to, my friend earlier, he's in charge of people. He does a great job. My brother's in charge of product, and then I'm in charge of profit. And so, we each play a role in it, but we all model the same thing and work very hard on creating a great culture, even though we don't see each other but once or twice a year.
Well, that says a lot too, though, about your vision, because you cast vision often. That's important. A lot of people, they just talk about it once, they put it on the wall, and they never address it again. Yes. And vision leaks. Share with us some of the things that you do to make certain the vision is in front of all of the people.
Yeah. Great question. I mean, every Wednesday, I said we have meetings with the whole team Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I talked about Monday and Friday, but Wednesday is called Kevin's Corner. So every Wednesday at 8:30, it's Kevin's Corner, and I give them a great opening, and it's fun, and I say hi to every single employee that's on there, and I let them know that today, so what it would be is today is Thursday, April 2025, and there will never, ever, ever be another April 17th, 2025 again. So let's make the very, very best of this very special and awesome day. And I'd be like, good morning, Ashley and Todd, and then I'd go through the whole list, and then I go into a presentation. So like this Wednesday, which you actually heard yesterday, my Kevin's Corner was on High Point University, and I let them know about the bar that they set. So I had some slides, I had a little video, and it's 15 to 30 minutes. Sometimes it's hard to shut me up. I like to keep going, but it's constantly casting the vision of the why behind it, and then where we're going, and really the need that we are here to help these companies hire. Like, that's the drive. Like, it's not about the money. I don't count them. I've literally, Diana, never counted the money when I opened my first business. I'm just like, if I do the right thing and I work hard, it'll be there at the end of the month. I couldn't even tell you within thousands of dollars of where I am today for this month. No idea. And it'll be okay. And it'll be fine.
You just look at it once a month, and you go through the finances at that point, and you
Correct.
adjust, you make corrections, or you decide to spend some money. I want to talk for just a moment like the cruise. A lot of people go, well, yeah, I'm over people at a company, and the company won't give me money to do that kind of thing. Tony and I, we did it ourselves. The company never paid for all of the things that we did for the employees.
Yeah.
Yet you mentioned you couldn't be where you're at today without them. And I think that's what we've got to remember. Wherever we are in our life, we wouldn't be there without other people. And I love the statement that I say all the time is, if you drink the water, don't forget who dug the well, right?
Yeah.
So you're giving back to these people. You're sharing your vision on Wednesday, which I love the way you start your meeting because it has so much energy.
Yeah.
And then you're allowing your people to do a meeting by spinning the wheel, which makes it fun.
Right.
And do you ever have anybody go, I don't want to do a talk?
Not yet.
Well, you've hired the right people, obviously. You're pretty good at that. Do you actually use the assessments, and does everybody know what assessment goes with whom?
Yeah.
That would be kind of fun.
100%. Like everybody knows who they are, what their assessment is, and they all know who the other person is in their assessment. And sometimes you'll even hear that on meetings, like, "Oh yeah, you're saying that because you're a sales leader," and it'll pop out. Your desk is messy because you have low thorough and compliance and structured routine. So
Now,
it's fun, but we
I've got
built
to
that into
ask
the
you
culture.
though, do they get into the motivation? Because your assessment actually says how motivated they are, self, what other people think their motivation, the level of it, and under pressure. I mean, you have all these different areas that you give self, other people, and under pressure. Do they know
Yeah.
that about each other?
Well, they've had meetings where they'll show what their total score is, so you could see that. And those are really good different dynamics because that kind of shows too, some people will say, you can cheat the assessment. It's like you really can't. Like it'll come through in those where it says like, hey, I feel like I'm really motivated, but under pressure, maybe I'm not. That's somebody trying to game the system, but ultimately under pressure is the real number. And so these are good ways to be able to discern in between the assessment. And another thing is that by taking the assessment, it allows us to be able to read the answers and understand more why. Like, let's just say that you're looking for, again, I use a salesperson, it's just the easiest to think about. I'm looking for a salesperson. I interviewed somebody. They took the assessment and didn't come back like they'd be good for sales. And I'm like, why? I thought they would be great. But if you read the details, if you read it out loud, like what they are most like, why they pick those answers, and what they are least like, it will give you the answers why. Like you will be surprised. So you're like, I think this would be a great salesperson. Well, it's like, well, why did they put their least convincing? Why would they select that they're least persuasive? You can't get a salesperson, a true person, to do that. They just wouldn't. They couldn't answer that way. And
No.
so it gives you a peek inside where sometimes they're trying to act like a salesperson, but they might say, well, I don't want to be a pushy salesperson. And so it comes through. And then you can say, listen, I know you want to be, but it's probably not the best for you.
Well, just giving people that luxury of knowing what they're going to be good at. I think that's fabulous. And you never turn somebody down in a way that hurts their feelings, for heaven's sakes. Everything that you do on that assessment, on the way that you treat people, they're very, very happy with what they get. And I was quite shocked. I mean, within about 4 days, we had 427 applicants
Yeah.
for one position, and good applicants.
Yeah.
They weren't just run-of-the-mill people. It was like, oh my goodness, going through the resumes were fabulous. And being able to see, though, do they have what it takes to actually be able to accomplish this position? Then do the videos, then to do the interviews for the ones that you're most interested in. It allows you to whittle that down. Having a company that does this, though, and you're starting up, did people actually maybe think it doesn't work?
Well, in the beginning, you don't have a track record, but what we would always do is say, take the assessment and then read the results. And that's when people is undeniable because they're like, oh my gosh, how did they know? Like, I can't believe it pegged me there. Now, a lot of times they might say, well, I don't know if I'm that. And that could be the one that they need improvement on. So
Yeah.
that's always a telltale sign.
Well, the other part though, let's say that we have some people within our organization. We don't want to get rid of them. We want to help them. And we're wondering, is it skill? Is it that they're just not happy in that position? Is it something that we're doing as the leader? How could we get better? Because it's our responsibility to help people be successful. That's my feelings anyway,
For sure it
as a
is.
leader. Can someone come back and have just the assessment taken, or do they just have to hire ideal traits to find an employee?
Maybe I did not. I'm just trying to figure out your question still. Help me out.
Okay, so let's stop it right here. What it is, let's say that I have a person that isn't really making it
Yeah.
in the position that they're in. Can I, as an individual, call ideal traits and pay for an assessment, or does it only happen when we're hiring someone? Because I won't put this in the deal if it's not a
Yeah.
good
No, I
fit for
mean,
you.
well, anyone that's on the subscription is unlimited assessments. And there's
That's a
actually a
good
really,
question. Let me ask it again then.
yeah,
Okay,
because
we're
there's
going
a
to do
really
that.
good answer to that.
Okay. So I've got somebody, Kevin, not personally, I'm using this hypothetically,
Yeah.
have someone that is in a position that just isn't cutting it. And I'm wondering if maybe I made a hiring mistake. I didn't use your company, and I really want to give this person every opportunity that I can. Can I contact you and just get an assessment for them to see where a good fit would be?
Yeah. So, with all of our subscription with Ideal Traits, they're for a year and they come with unlimited assessments. As a matter of fact, the first thing that we recommend that all business owners do is assess their entire staff, like right off the bat. This alone can help pay for itself and then some. Just imagine every manager having great conversations with their staff in their department. And sometimes what we even find is they apply for one, they're in one department and they do a switch, and they'll switch departments based on the personality and based on how they're already performing. So it's really important to us, and we did unlimited. We've never gone away from that. And the other reason is this: too many times when people are hiring, they look at assessments as expensive. So they find 10 people, they're going to spend, we'll call it 10 interviewing for 10 people. They narrow it down to 3, and they'll say, we'll give these 3 the assessment, right? Because assessments are expensive. Then they decide that, hey, maybe, this one came back inconclusive, but I'll hire them anyways, And what we're saying is assess all 10 and then let those assessments narrow it down for you so you don't get emotionally involved in it. Yet you want to be logical about and surgical about narrowing it down. And then from there, you can get the emotional, you can learn more. Like it would be okay.
I think that's very key right now because so many times you interview someone, and let's say there are professional interviewers out there. They are so
Absolutely.
doggone good. You are just hook, line, and sinker. You're caught, right? You swallowed the bait. And now you do an assessment. You almost start convincing yourself that the assessment is incorrect because you feel that you've got that intuition. You just know they're going to work out.
Yeah.
I mean, how
Yeah.
many bad hires have people made in their lifetime? I know I've made some. I don't think there's anybody that signs up for your program that hasn't made bad hires, for heaven's sakes. If you have a business, you've made a bad hire. In
For
fact,
sure.
some of the bad hires, I loved Michael Gerber when he used to say, some entrepreneurs are not entrepreneurs. They're just managers having an entrepreneurial seizure, right? And have hired themselves to run their company. And
Right.
when they find somebody that is someone that fits the assessment to be over operations, to run the company takes off.
Right.
And you find out that person might be a visionary leader or some type of leader that literally can help the company grow, yet should not be over operations.
Right.
So
Right.
it actually helps us to take an assessment ourselves and find out what are we good at, right?
Such a good point.
And then go out and learn more.
Yeah.
Now, I want to go into learning because that's something that you do a lot. That's how we met
Yeah.
at a conference that was about learning. You're part of our mentorship program where you're a mentee, where John and I mentor you all.
Yes.
And as you mentioned, we were at High Point University learning from Nito Cobain.
Yeah.
What was it about growth, personal growth, that interests you? And have you been able to pass that on to your employees? And if so, how have you passed it on?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I've always recognized and understood that I just don't have all the answers. And I've just sought after the best that I could possibly get into the room with. I remember back at AllState, I didn't know anybody. And so the top people that were in Michigan was Cheryl Bowker and John Eveco and Mark Knopfsinger. So what did I do? I went to their office and I said, help me. Tell me, like, you guys are the best. And and then after that, it was like, well, what, groups are you a part of? And then ultimately, I got invited to the mega conference. And those were the top 100 agents in the country for Allstate. And you're sitting in a room and you're like, oh my gosh, like, I am just a small guy here in this room. And then eventually, after a few years, you become one of the senior people there and you get more respect of everybody. And then the younger ones are coming in, you start to mentor them. And that was like an Allstate. And I thought that those rooms were huge. Well, then did my eyes get opened up when I got turned on to John Maxwell's rooms.
Yeah.
So it was through David Martin and a really good friend of mine, and our sons were, really good friends. And he's like, no, you want to go to John Maxwell's house and do an event there? And I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I got into that room with 50 or 60 people. And it's like, well, these were like the top 1% of the mega conference, like the top person, but there were 70 of them. And then way even beyond that, and even at this last event, like, we're literally meeting billionaires and they're talking about flying on their jets. So it's getting more comfortable in the room and being able to continue to network within the room. I don't pester John when I'm with him. That could be a bad thing, but I'm more interested, not more equally, in the room. I've already had 4 Zooms with people from that masterclass, and I have Zooms set up, like, even for like next week. And I sent out 10 different invites to people that I met, because it's not even like self-serving, like, I'm going to sell you something. Like, I literally want to learn from you, and I believe that you can teach me so much. And so to me, it's about the room and networking, but not networking for profit. It's just networking to learn.
That's the part that sets you apart from the others, gets you out of the people pile.
Yeah,
More
right.
people just want to go there, pass out their business cards, say, hey, I can help you with this. I mean, I can't tell you how many people asked me to join whatever they were doing
Yeah.
at that event. And,
Yeah.
oh, you need to be part of our group. Hey, what if you joined this? What if you paid for that? And I've done the same thing. When John asked us to stand up and say what we were passionate about, and he chose me from the table, I talked about the mentorship. You joined it. I didn't know you before, yet getting to know you now, I know we have one thing in common for certain. And that is, we believe that you become like the people you hang out with. And so we're very intentional about who we give our time to, who we hang out with, and what groups we're going to be in. And a lot of them are provided by other people. So who first turned you on to you become like the 5 people you hang out with? And have you solicited that your entire life?
Wow, that is good. I think it was just when I sought after the first couple of Allstate agents, John Eveco and Cheryl Bowker, and they're like, well, I can introduce you to more. And I just started, that I didn't have the end in mind at the time. I was just thinking, hey, they're the best in Michigan. I'll learn from them. And they're just kind of opened me up to a whole nother world. Like, well, you need to know, Jim, and he's in Texas. And you didn't know Jeremy, and he's in Washington. And it's like, wow, well, I never even thought that big before. And so probably those are the ones that kind of got me on the path, and just always continually seeking. And I feel like I always want to be mentored, which is why I'd love to be part of your group. It's been such a blessing to me and our organization and the whole group. I mean, just, they all adore you. And
Well,
so
they're
it's
all
like I
great
want to
people.
be mentored, and then I also at the same want to be a mentor to others. So bringing people up, of course, there's people that are on the same path, and then being, brought up from people that have more experience and more knowledge in different areas that I just haven't haven't had the chance to learn yet.
You know, I think it's that ripple effect that we started out with. You just continue that ripple effect throughout your life. You just keep talking about it over and over again. And so I want to end with this one question. And it's a question that makes people really stop and think. And it's literally, if this was your last recorded conversation, what truth would you not leave unsaid?
I think that it would have to be that I love God and that I love my family. And I probably, I know I don't reach out to my mom and dad enough and my brother and sister enough and the people that I love the most. And that's something that I need to work on and improve on. But just to let them all know that I love them unconditionally and more than they can ever imagine. Nieces, nephews, aunts and uncles, and I'm just forever grateful for them. And I got to do a better job at that, of letting people know.
You know, I've got to tell you, if you didn't touch some hearts right there, pick up your phone right now, give somebody a call that you'd want to say, I just wanted to tell you I love you. They may actually say, are you okay? No. What happened today?
Right.
What's going on in your life? Yet I agree with you. We sometimes forget to do that. Put it in your calendar to give 5 gratitude calls or 5 gratitude texts a day and make certain that the people out there know that you love them. Thanks for that great last minute tip to all of us, Kevin. Thank you for being on the Becoming More podcast. And if you too want to subscribe, just hit the button below. And you also have all of the ways that you can connect with Kevin. Everything is there. Just hit those links and connect with him. You'll never regret it.
Thank you.